Welcome to Book Bites, your weekly dose of literary delight. We dive into Amazon's top-selling books, giving you the lowdown on what's hot and what's not. Join us as we uncover hidden gems, discuss captivating storylines, and analyze the minds of best-selling authors. Whether you're a seasoned reader or just starting your literary journey, there's something for everyone. So grab a cup of coffee, get cozy, and let's get reading.
Okay, so today we're going to dive into a really interesting book called How We Learn to Be Brave, and it's by Bishop Mariann Edgar Budde.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
a bishop writing about being brave. That's it.
Yeah, right. It's not exactly what you think of when you think of like a self-help book, you know?
Right.
But it's kind of a mix of, personal stories and history and then religious ideas.
Right.
And we've got this really great analysis of the book that kind of pulls out some of the strengths and weaknesses. And I'm really excited to jump in because one of the things they highlighted was that the book's really vulnerable and it uses these super diverse examples, like from Martin Luther King Jr. to Harry Potter.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, talk about range, right?
Yeah, that's quite a spectrum.
So let's start with this idea of vulnerability, because the analysis really emphasized that Budde shares a lot of her own struggles.
Yeah, she does. She really puts herself out there and talks about, like facing down hecklers at protests and even dealing with like self-doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really think about a bishop, having stage fright.
Right, exactly. It's not the image that comes to mind.
So how do you think that vulnerability, like why is that such a powerful starting point for a book about courage?
I think it makes her relatable, like she's not this untouchable figure preaching from on high. It makes her seem like a real person who's also figuring things out.
Yeah, it humanizes her for sure.
And it makes the concept of courage feel more attainable,
Yeah.
Because we see that even someone in her position has moments of fear and doubt, but she still chooses to act.
Right. It's not like this superhuman thing that you either have or you don't.
Exactly. It's more about making those choices to step outside of your comfort zone, even when you're scared.
Okay, so let's talk about those examples because I was blown away by the variety. Martin Luther King Jr., the biblical Esther Harry Potter.
Right. It's like, what do those figures have in common? But that's the point she's making. Courage isn't limited to like one type of person or one type of situation, It takes different forms. I mean, you think about Martin Luther King Jr. fighting for civil rights. And then you have Esther, risking her life to save her people, and then Harry Potter facing down Voldemort.
Like a totally different realm.
Right. But they all share this willingness to stand up for what they believe in, even when it's dangerous or unpopular.
Yeah. And it's so relevant today.
Yeah.
I mean, we're facing such complex challenges, like as a society, and it's like we need people to be brave and step up and try to make a difference.
Absolutely. And seeing these diverse examples, it kind of gives you hope that courage can exist in any context,
Now, one thing that I noticed was that Budde weaves her faith throughout the book, and she even connects spiritual practices to developing courage. So I'm curious, do you think that aspect could alienate some readers?
That's a good question, and it's definitely something to consider. And, some readers might find her perspective inspiring, right? But others who don't share her faith might feel a little excluded.
Right.
But I think it's important to note that she doesn't present her beliefs in like a preachy way, It's more about emphasizing these universal values like compassion and perseverance. And I think those can resonate with anyone, regardless of their religious background.
So the analysis also points out that this isn't just a book full of inspirational quotes and stories. It actually provides concrete steps to cultivate courage, which is a huge plus in my book.
Oh, for sure.
So what are some of those steps that she lays out?
Well, one of the key things is this idea of practicing small acts of courage daily.
Okay.
It's like you don't have to wait for some big heroic moment to be brave.
Right.
It's about making those choices in your everyday life, Like speaking up when you see something wrong or helping someone in need or even just trying something new that scares you.
It's like building up to those big moments.
Exactly. It's like a muscle, right? The more you use it, the stronger it becomes.
Now, of course, no book is perfect, and the source does mention a couple limitations, for example, the focus on individual bravery.
Yeah. That's a valid point.
Yeah.
While personal courage is essential, it's not always enough to tackle those big systemic problems like inequality or climate change.
Right.
Those require collective action,
Yeah, right.
organizing and mobilizing and challenging power structures, and that's a different kind of courage.
Yeah, it's not just about, one person standing up. It's about a whole group of people coming together.
Exactly.
So it seems like How We Learn to Be Brave is a really strong read for personal growth and understanding that individual side of courage. But, maybe it needs to be paired with something else that addresses those bigger systemic issues.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a great starting point, and it offers a lot of practical advice.
Yeah.
But it's important to recognize that there's more to the picture.
So if you're interested in learning more about how to cultivate courage in your own life, definitely check out How We Learn to Be Brave. And as you're reading it, think about this. What's one small act of courage you can practice today? What can you do to push yourself just a little bit outside of your comfort zone? It could be speaking up for something you believe in, or reaching out to someone who needs support, or even just, trying that new recipe you've been wanting to make. Remember, courage is like a muscle, and even the smallest actions can help it grow. So get out there and be brave.
I love that.
I think we all need a little bit of bravery in our lives.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
That's all for this episode of Book Bites. We hope you enjoyed our review, and if you did, please like, share, and follow our podcast. And don't forget to leave a comment with your thoughts on the book. We love hearing from our listeners.